Hello everyone, myself Bismi Picharian, Assistant Professor at Suresh Gyan Vihar University. Today I am going to discuss about the anti-metabolites drug, the mainly purine and the folic acid analogs and the anti-cancer antibiotics. So I have already discussed about some drugs that coming under in the category of purine analogs. Okay, so one or two drugs are remaining from the purine classification. So we will discuss in today's class. So we are going to discuss about the remaining purine antimetabolites drug and the folic acid that is again coming under the category of antimetabolites drug and the anti-cancer antibiotics. So learning objective of this topic is these lessons will help the students to understand the mechanism of action, uses of antimetabolites, purine drug and the folic acid analogs as well as the anti-cancer antibiotics. And the learning outcomes. After this lesson, students will be able to describe SAR, mechanism of action, and the uses of antineoplastic agents. Antimetabolites, purine, and the folic acid and the anti-cancer antibiotics are the main drug that we are going to discuss in today's class. So we have already learned that what is the mechanism of action of the antimetabolites. Okay, so the antimetabolites are compound that prevent the biosynthesis or the use of the normal cellular and metabolites. And the antimetabolites inert their action by acting as a false precursor enzyme or by acting as a competitive antagonist for an enzyme. And these drugs are usually structural analogues of the normal body metabolites by incorporating one or two isosteric group or other structural changes of the metabolites. Okay, so the antimetabolite structure and the metabolite structure almost they are same. Okay. So the what is the mechanism of action? Which means they directly incorporated into the DNA. Okay, they directly incorporated DNA, or they only means the difference between the normal metabolite and the anti-metabolite drug are only the incorporation of some groups in the anti-metabolite drugs, and they compete with natural substrate for the active site on an essential enzyme or receptor. Okay, and they when the structures are same for both the metabolites as well as the non this anti-metabolite drug, so what happens, there will be a competition between the anti-metabolite drug and the metabolites. So when this competition happens inside the body for the receptor sites or for the enzymes, what happens, the DNA structure, okay, the enzyme reduces, and that enzyme is responsible for the synthesis of the DNA, DUMP. Okay, deoxyuridine monophosphate. Okay, so that is the thing here. The most of the drug during the S phase of the cell cycle acts. Okay, almost all the antimetabolites drug, they act on the S phase of the cell. Okay, let's see the classification of this antimetabolites drug. So the antimetabolites drugs are classified into the pyrimidine analogs, purine analogs, and the folic acid analogs. Okay, so the pyrimidine analogs the examples we have learned, the 5-fluorouracil and the cytarabine we have already done. And the purine analog, that mercaptopurine, thioguanine, azathioprine. Okay, so mercaptopurine we have done. Okay, and the folic acid analog, that is the methotrexate. Okay, so that we have to learn in today's class, as well as the azathioprine and the thioguanine also. So the first drug is azathioprine. Okay, azathioprine. Okay, so the structure of the azathioprine is this, means one imidazole ring. Okay, one imidazole ring is attached in the azathioprine structure. Okay, and look at this structure. This is the pyrimidine and this is the imidazole. Pyrimidine imidazole ring. Okay, and the one another imidazole is there, and in that imidazole there is one methyl group and there is one nitric group. Okay, and these two, this imidazole and these two ring is connected with the sulfur atom. So that is the thing we have mentioned in the previous class, because all the antimetabolites drug at the sixth position of the pyrimidine ring, that should be connected with the sulfur atom. Okay, for producing the anti-cancer activity by this antimetabolites drug. So this is the one SAR, means the one sulfur atom is must be present at the position of the six to the pyrimidine ring. Okay, so this pyrimidine and the imidazole ring connected with the S atom. Okay, this pyrimidine, sorry, this imidazole and this pyrimidine and this ring is connected with the sulfur atom. Okay, look at the structure, imidazole ring. Okay, we will give the name of this ring, means imidazole means they are five membered heterocyclic ring. They contain two nitrogen atom, but at the first position and the third position. Okay, so we will start the numbering from here. 1, 2, 3. First and the third position, they have nitrogen atom. Okay, so N-methyl, okay, N-methyl, or we can say 1-methyl 4-nitro-imidazole. Okay, and 1-methyl 4-nitro-imidazole ring is attached with the sulfur atom. That sulfur atom is attached at the position of the sixth of this pyrimidine ring. Okay, so here two imidazole ring is there, one pyrimidine ring is there. Okay, so one imidazole that is connected with the sulfur atom, that is attached with one methyl group as well as nitro group. Okay, so this name is 4-nitro-methyl imidazole. Okay, 4-nitro-methyl imidazole ring that is attached to the sulfur atom with the position of the 6 to the pyrimidine. So this is the structure of the azathioprine, and the mechanism of action is same. Okay, means this azathioprine itself is an inactive drug. Okay, same likewise the mercaptopurine. Mercaptopurine is again inactive drug. Okay, and they converts into the, this azathioprine is converted into the mercaptopurine. Okay, mercaptopurine, and that mercaptopurine is converted into metabolites for producing the anti-cancer activity. So there are three ways to metabolize that mercaptopurine. So we have seen, or we have discussed that three way in our previous class. So the mechanism of action of this azathioprine is also again same likewise the mercaptopurine, because this azathioprine is converted into the mercaptopurine, because this azathioprine is inactive drug. Same likewise the mercaptopurine is again inactive drug. So these two drugs reacts when the patient will administer this drug. After administering this drug, these drugs have to be metabolized for producing the anti-cancer activity. Okay, so that is the thing. And that anti-metabolite, that metabolite of this azathioprine or the mercaptopurine, they are capable of producing the anti-cancer activity by binding with or by changing the structure of the guanine inside the DNA RNA by forming the complex, okay, complex linkage in the inside the DNA, and when the structure of this DNA changes, what happens when the structure of the guanine changes, what happens? Miscoding takes place inside that DNA. Miscoding means sorry, miscoding means the guanine always base pair with the cytosine and the adenine always base pair with the thymine. When this structure changes inside the body, or the metabolites of this azathioprine binds to the guanine, and the guanine structure will be changed. So when the structure of the guanine changes, at that time miscoding happens, means that guanine, okay, guanine, the means change the structure of the guanine base pair with the adenine. So that is the miscoding here. When the miscoding happens, obviously the synthesis of the DNA will reduced. So azathioprine also interact with the cellular metabolism and the results in the inhibition of the mitosis. So look at the structural structural activity relationship. The activity of the drug increases with increase in the carbon chain up to 15 to 16 carbons. After it again decreases. Okay, till 15 to 16 carbons, the action or the activity of the drug will be increases. But beyond the 16, the activity will reduce. Okay, the substituent at the position 6, which can lead to the increase in the resonance of sixth position will be lead to increase in the activity of the drug. So at the sixth position of the pyrimidine ring, okay, there what is that pyrimidine and the purine, they form pyrimidine and the imidazole, they fuse together and form purine structure. Okay, look at this structure. This is the purine. Okay, these two rings are together purine. At the sixth position of the purine, there is one sulfur atom. Okay, and that sulfur atom is attached with the 4-nitromethyl imidazole ring. So that is the thing in the SAR. They are saying that the sixth position substituent is responsible for the activity. Means the purine analogs must have one sulfur atom at the sixth position. Okay, so that is the thing in the SAR. The substituent at the position 6 that can lead to the increase in the resonance at the sixth position will lead to the increase in the activity of the drug also. Okay, so the sulfur atom is must present in the azathioprine for showing the anti-cancer activity, as well as the purine ring is again must for showing the activity of this anti-cancer drug. Okay, as well as this structure 4-nitromethyl imidazole ring is again necessary in the azathioprine ring for producing the activity. Okay, so we have done. So let's see the therapeutic uses of this which drug is this? Azathioprine. Okay, therapeutic uses of the azathioprine. This is used as an immunosuppressive agent for preventing of rejection of the transplanted organs, and it is given into the treatment of autoimmune diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune hepatitis, myasthenia gravis, and as a steroid sparing agent for the inflammatory bowel diseases. Okay, so this is the thing. Let's see the folic acid analogs. Okay, so folic acid analog, the example of the folic acid analog is the methotrexate. Okay, methotrexate is the example of the folic acid analogus. And look at the structure. Sorry, this is the pyrimidine ring. Pyrimidine structure is 6-membered ring. They have 2 nitrogen atoms at the first and the third position. So this is the pyrimidine ring. Look at this structure. This ring also have 2 nitrogen atoms, but the position changed here. The position is first and fourth position. So the pyrimidine, so the 6-member heterocyclic ring that have 2 nitrogen atoms at the first and the fourth position, that is named as pyrazine. Okay, so the pyrimidine and the pyrazine ring fused together. Okay, so pyrimidine is nitrogen atom present at the first and the third position, and in the pyrazine ring the nitrogen atom present at the first and the fourth position. Okay, so this is the ring. And look at this CH2. Okay, CH2, nitrogen atom, CH3. So this ring is attached with one dimethylamine group. Okay, dimethyl. We means I am saying the easiest way to learn this structure. Okay, I'm breaking this structure to learn the structure of the methotrexate. So the first ring is pyrimidine ring, second ring is the pyrazine ring, and that pyrazine ring, okay, that pyrazine ring is connected with dimethylamine, CH2 and CH3, dimethylamine, and this amine group is attached with one benzene ring. Okay, one benzene ring, and this is the carboxylic group. Okay, remaining is the carboxylic group. So this is the structure of the methotrexate. And at the in the pyrimidine ring, at the position of 2, and at the position of the sixth position of the pyrimidine ring, okay, second position and the sixth position of the pyrimidine ring, there will be a two amine group. Okay, there will be two amine group that is attached to the second and the sixth position of the pyrimidine. Okay, so this is the structure of the methotrexate. Sorry. So the mechanism of action of this methotrexate is, this methotrexate competitively inhibit the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. Okay, dihydrofolate reductase enzyme is reduced with the help of this methotrexate. So that is the mechanism of action. This methotrexate competitively inhibit one enzyme, that is DHFR, dihydrofolate reductase. Okay, and that enzyme is responsible for the conversion of dihydrofolic acid to the trihydrofolate. Okay, dihydrofolic acid to trihydrofolate, that happens, the conversion happens in the presence of the DHFR. So this DHFR is reduced by this methotrexate enzyme. Okay, and this tetrahydrofolate is responsible for the generation of various enzymes. Okay, generation of various enzymes for synthesis of the purine, thymidylate, methionine, and the glycine. Okay, so what this methotrexate do? Methotrexate reduces the DHFR. Okay, methotrexate reduces the DHFR, and that DHFR is the enzyme that named as dihydrofolate reductase. Dihydrofolate reductase. Normally inside our body, this dihydrofolate reductase enzyme reduces the this dihydrofolate reductase enzyme converts dihydrofolate to the tetrahydrofolate, and this normal tetrahydrofolate is responsible for generation of some enzymes that is responsible for the synthesis of the purine, thymidylate, all the things. And these purine, thymidylate, all the things are responsible for the synthesis of the DNA. Okay, these all the purine, all the things are responsible for the synthesis of the DNA. When the enzyme that reduces, obviously the synthesis of the purine, thymidylate, obviously that also reduces. When that purine, thymidylate reduces, the DNA synthesis also reduces. So that is the action of the methotrexate. Okay, so methotrexate always competitively inhibit the enzyme that is dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, and that is responsible for the conversion of the dihydrofolate to the tetrahydrofolate. Okay, that tetrahydrofolate is responsible for the generation of some various enzymes inside our body for the synthesis of the purine, thymidylate, all the things. And these purine, thymidylate, all the things are responsible for the synthesis of the DNA. Okay, when the methotrexate reduces the enzyme, all the things will reduce. Okay, and as the purine synthesis and the DNA synthesis automatically reduces. Sorry. Okay, look at the structure. So we have done with the mechanism of action of this methotrexate. Okay, so methotrexate always reduces the DHFR, dihydrofolate reductase enzyme. Dihydrofolate reductase enzyme is reduced by the methotrexate. So that is the main mechanism of action of the methotrexate. So let's see the synthesis of this methotrexate. For synthesizing the methotrexate, we have to take the 2,4,5,6 tetraamino. So look at the structure. There are 4 amine group that is attached to this pyrimidine ring. So this is, and we have to number, we have to start number from here. 1, 2, 2 amino, 3, 4, 4 amino, 5 amino, 6 amino. So this product name is, okay, this chemical name is 2,4,5,6, 2, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, 5, 6. 4 means tetra. 2, 4, 5, 6 tetra amino pyrimidine. Okay, so this is the pyrimidine ring 2, 4, 5, 6 tetraamino pyrimidine ring. This reacts with 2, 3 dibromo propionaldehyde. Okay, 2, 3 dibromo propionaldehyde. Okay, so this 2, 4, 5, 6 tetraamino pyrimidine reacts with 2, 3 dibromo propionaldehyde. What happens? One hydrogen atom from this fourth amine group and one bromide atom from this second carbon atom will be removed. Okay, or means 4 atom of the HBr will be removed. Means, okay, so that is the thing. Sorry, 1 HBr will remove. Sorry, that is mistakenly I have told that 1 hydrogen atom from here and 1 Br from here, 1 HBr hydroxybromide will remove from here, and this NH atom that is directly attaches to this carbon atom. So the carbon CH2C Br is there, C double bond OH. Look at the structure. The amine group is remain same. The nitrogen atom, look at this NH. So I have written here NH, CH, this CH, and this CH is connected with the CH2Br. So CH2Br I have written here. Next C means C double bond O. Look at this. I have written here C double bond O and H. So in this way we can learn easily how this ring will form. So that is why I have taken this handwritten notes here. So this is the way to form this structure. Okay, so NH I have written here NH, CH, CH2Br, CH, CH2Br. After that we have to write this C double bond OH. So I have written here C double bond OH. Okay, then after this product, okay, this product, what happens? We have to do the reduction reaction here. Okay, reduction reaction to close the ring. Okay, for closing the ring we have to do the reduction reaction. When we do this reduction reaction, what happens? One water molecule removes and the ring will join together. Okay, so this ring closes. Okay, so look at the structure C double bond O. So one O from here and 2 molecule of hydrogen atom from this amine group removes one water molecule. Okay, and this double bond okay sorry, so this N directly attached with this carbon atom and one double bond is also present. Okay, look at this, one double bond is also present. So this is the way this long chain will closes into the ring. So for closing the ring, what we have to do? We have to do the reduction enzyme, reduction reaction. Okay, we have to do the reduction reaction. So for closing the ring, we have to do the reduction reaction. So when the reduction reaction happens, one water molecule will reduces from this. Okay, and this ring will close. So look at the structure. Then what we have to do? We have to do the dehydrogenation. Dehydrogenation means addition of the water. Okay, addition of the water. For what purpose we are doing the dehydrogenation? For making the double bond here, for making double bond inside this ring. Okay, for that purpose we have to do the hydrogenation reaction here. Okay, so look at this. When we have done this dehydroxylation reaction, one double bond is formed inside the structure. Okay, then after that, this product. So when you learn the structure of this methotrexate, okay, so what we have to do? Just break the chain from here. Okay, just break the chain from here, and the remaining is this product. Okay, if you learn the structure of the methotrexate, so you can learn the structure of this last product of the synthesis of this methotrexate. Okay, so you have to break from here, and the remaining is your this product. Okay, so we have taken this product, and what happens? One Br from this CH2, okay, one Br from this CH2 and one hydrogen atom from this nitrogen atom, that will remove HBr. Okay, so one hydroxybromide removes from here and these two join together. Look at this CH2. So CH2 is there. Sorry, CH2 is here. And CH2 nitrogen atom is here. Okay, and this nitrogen atom have one methyl group. Okay, one methyl group is also there, and one benzene ring, same benzene ring, CONH, and this carboxylic group. Okay, so this is the synthesis of the methotrexate, and this is very, very important also. So please, you have to learn this synthesis. Okay, so I will explain it once again. The 2, 4, 5, 6 tetraamino pyrimidine ring we have to take, and we have to take the 2,1,3 dibromo propione aldehyde. When these two products reacts together, one hydroxybromide removes from one hydrogen from this amine group and one Br from this group. Okay, so they will join together, NH, CH2Br, CH2Br, C double bond OH, C double bond OH. For closing the ring, okay, we want two ring in the methotrexate, so we have to close this ring. For closing the ring, we have to, what we have to do, okay, for closing the ring we have to do reduction reaction. Okay, when the reduction reaction takes place, what happens, one water molecule removes from here, one water molecule removes from here, and this ring will close together. Okay, this ring will closes, and after that we want inside this ring we want one double bond. For creating the double bond inside the ring, we have to do the dehydrogenation. So what happens when we do the dehydrogenation, the one double bond will come here. So this is the purpose of doing this dehydrogenation. Okay, for creating one double bond inside the ring. After that, we have taken this from here. Okay, we have, this is the structure of the methotrexate. We have to break from here. So this is the last reacting compound of forming the methotrexate. Okay, so from this group, see, one Br from this ring and one hydrogen atom from this remaining group, that HBr removes from here, and these two structures join together and form our methotrexate. So this is the synthesis of the methotrexate. Okay, and next is, I have discussed about this methotrexate mechanism of action. Okay, and let's see the uses of this drug. So this drug, this methotrexate, used in the treatment of leukemia. Okay, leukemia. Okay, this is used in the treatment of leukemia, and it also used in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, rheumatoid arthritis. So the main mechanism of action of this methotrexate is it is used in the treatment of cancer as well as in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so this is the main MCQ question. Okay, so if any patient or if any person is taking the methotrexate, that doesn't mean that particular patient have the cancer, because this methotrexate is given to the rheumatoid arthritic patient also. So this methotrexate we are using in the treatment of cancer as well as in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so this is all about the methotrexate. Okay, next drug is, or next category is anti-cancer antibiotics. Okay, anti-cancer antibiotics. So anthracycline antibiotics. So this anti-cancer antibiotics is also known as anthracycline antibiotics. Okay, sorry. This anti-cancer antibiotics drugs are also known as anthracycline antibiotics, and this anthracycline anti-neoplastic antibiotics are very closely related to tetracycline antibiotics. Okay, we are not studying the normal antibiotics here. Okay, we are studying the anti-cancer antibiotics here. So this anthracycline anti-neoplastic antibiotics are very closely related to the tetracycline antibiotics. Okay, they are structurally similar to the tetracycline antibiotics. Okay, structurally they are glycosides. Okay, this anthracycline antibiotics, they are structuring glycosides. Okay, containing a sugar portion that is known as L-danosamine. L-danosamine. Okay, and a non-sugar organic portion. Okay, so this structurally these anthracycline antibiotics are glycosides, and they contain sugar portion that is known as L-danosamine and a non-sugar organic portion. And this sugar portion is also known as glycone portion. Okay, and this non-sugar organic portion is known as aglycone portion. So the non-sugar portion of the glycoside is referred to as an aglycone. Okay, glycone and aglycone. So we can easily remember that. Okay, we can easily learn that anthracycline antibiotics are mainly glycone part and the aglycone part inside the anthracycline antibiotics. Okay, here it is called as anthracyclinone. So that aglycone part inside the antibiotic, anthracycline antibiotic, that is known as anthracyclinone. In the structure of the drug, you can easily learn this. So the aglycone part of the anthracycline is known as anthracyclinone. The glycosidic link and the non glycone part is known as L-danosamine. Okay, and the glycosidic linkage usually involves the 7th hydroxy group of the anthracyclinone and beta anomer of a sugar with the L configuration. Okay, so I have told that the anthracyclinone and or we can say the glycone part and the aglycone part, they are interconnected with the glycosidic linkage, and that glycosidic linkage. So here this is discussing about the glycosidic, where this glycosidic linkage is present. So the glycosidic linkage usually involves at the 7th hydroxyl group of the anthracyclinone and the beta anomer of the sugar with L configuration. So the glycone part also have the hydroxyl group, as well as the aglycone part of this anthracycline is also have the hydroxyl group. That between that hydroxyl group of the these two, glycone and the aglycone part, between that this glycosidic linkage will form. Okay, so that is the thing here. So this is all about, let's see the mechanism of action of this anthracycline antibiotics. So the anthraquinone nucleus of the anthracycline intercalate with the DNA. So in the intercalate, meaning of the intercalate means the linkage of, intercalate means the anthraquinone. Okay, anthraquinone insert between the two double stranded of the DNA. Okay, intercalate means this anthraquinone nucleus inserts within the double stranded DNA. Okay, when this insert in within the DNA, so what happens? That leads to the breakage of the double bond. Okay, sorry, double stranded DNA. When this anthraquinone nucleus inserts inside the DNA, at that time what happens? That leads to the breakage of the double stranded DNA. Okay, in addition, anthraquinone is also capable of generating the reacting oxygen species. Okay, so this anthraquinone is also capable of generating reacting oxygen species. Okay, such as hydroxyl radical, superoxide radical. Okay, hydroxyl radical, superoxide radical, and these free radicals are able to produce destructive effect upon the cell, which may include damage of the DNA. Okay, so what is the mechanism of action of this anthraquinone? Anthraquinone nucleus of the anthracycline drug that intercalate. Okay, or we can say they easily insert between the double stranded DNA, easily insert double stranded DNA, and they are able to break the double stranded DNA. So that is the first way of this action of this anthraquinone. And second way is they are capable of generating the free radicals, and these free radicals are capable of destruction in the DNA as well as in the destructive action upon the cell also. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action of, means this anthracycline drug, they can.
This call is now being recorded.
Sorry. So the generation of the free radicals that leads to the cardiotoxicity. Okay, the generation of the free radicals leads to the cardiotoxicity, and that is the main side effect of this anthracyclines. Okay, the main side effect of this anthracycline is generation of the free radical that leads to the cardiotoxicity. Okay, and the following are the anti-cancer antibiotics: dactinomycin, daunorubicin, doxorubicin, and bleomycin. So the daunorubicin is obtained from the fermentation of the Streptomyces peuceteus. Okay, Streptomyces peuceteus is the bacteria from which we can obtain the daunorubicin. Okay, so this daunorubicin is obtained from the fermentation of the Streptomyces peuceteus. Okay, and let's see the structure of this daunomycin. So look at this. I have told you that there is one glycone group and one glycone group. So this is known as glycone group. Glycone group. Okay, and this for tetracycline, this is the glycone group. Okay, so this is the glycone group and this is the glycone group, and the glycone group is known as tetracycline. Okay, tetracycline, and the glycone group is known as L. Sorry, wait a second. L-danosamine. Okay, and we have discussed these antibiotics have similar structure with the tetracyclic antibody. So this is the thing. There are 4 cycles in the ring of the daunorubicin. So this is the glycosidic linkage. Okay, this is the glycosidic linkage. I have told that the glycone, 7th position of the glycone group have hydroxy group, as well as the glycone group of this L-danosamine also have the hydroxy group. Okay, so these two hydroxy group bonds together and they form the glycosidic linkage. Okay, glycosidic linkage is between the 7th position of the hydroxy group and the beta anomer of this glycone group. Okay, so this is the structure of the daunorubicin. So let's see the uses. This is used in the treatment of acute lymphocytic and the granulocytic leukemia. Okay, this is used in the treatment of acute lymphocytic and granulocytic leukemia. Okay. Then next drug is doxorubicin. Okay, so doxorubicin, it is the hydroxy. Okay, 14th hydroxy daunorubicin. So the structure of this doxorubicin and the daunorubicin both are same. Only the difference is the oxide group. Okay, sorry, hydroxy group. Hydroxy group is attached to that methyl group. One methyl group is present in that daunorubicin. Okay, one hydroxy group is attached to this methyl group is known as doxorubicin. So the difference between the doxorubicin and the daunorubicin is one hydroxy group. Okay, so the doxo, so that is the hydroxy group is attached to that methyl group. So this becomes the doxorubicin. So look at this. This daunorubicin, this doxorubicin, okay, doxorubicin obtained from the culture of the Streptomyces peuceteus, same drug. Okay, the same drug is not same bacteria. Okay, same Streptomyces peuceteus. Okay, so same bacteria is used in the synthesis of the daunorubicin. And the doxorubicin we can obtain from the same bacteria that is known as Streptomyces peuceteus. Okay, so this is all about this doxorubicin. Next is uses of this doxorubicin drug. Okay, uses of the doxorubicin drug. It is one of the most effective anti-tumor agent. Doxorubicin is mainly used as an anti-tumor agent and most effective drug also. It has been used in acute lymphoblastic and myoblastic leukemia. Okay, it has been used in the acute lymphoblastic and the myoblastic leukemia for soft tissue, bone sarcoma, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, thyroid cancer, gastric carcinoma. Okay, so for these all disease, the doxorubicin is used. And next drug is dactinomycin, or we can say actinomycin. Actinomycin D. Okay, we can say dactinomycin or actinomycin D. So this dactinomycin or actinomycin D is obtained from the, okay, it is obtained or from the fermentation of the Streptomyces parvulus. Okay, so this dactinomycin is obtained from the fermentation of the Streptomyces parvulus. So we will see the structure. So this is the structure of the dactinomycin. Means dactinomycin don't have the tetracyclic ring. Okay, this dactinomycin only have the tricyclic ring. Okay, so this is the tricyclic ring. This is the tricyclic ring. So in this dactinomycin there is only tricyclic ring. Okay, tricyclic phenoxy. Okay, tricyclic phenoxyazone ring. Okay, phenoxyazone ring. So this is the tricyclic phenoxyazone ring, and these two benzene ring have connected with the phospholipid. Okay, phosphopeptide lactone appendages. Okay, there is one identical phosphopeptide lactone appendages is connected in two benzene ring. Okay, so this is the structure of the dactinomycin, and the full form of this methylvaline, and sarcosin. SAR stands for sarcosin, proline, valine, threonine. Okay, so this is all about. And the next is mechanism of action. Little bit mechanism changes in the dactinomycin mechanism of action. So this dactinomycin binds to the DNA and blocks the RNA transcription with the chain elongation. Okay, when the chain elongates, that time the RNA transcription will be blocks. When that chain elongation impaired the mRNA production, that declines the protein synthesis. When the mRNA production impaired, at that time that declines the protein synthesis. Okay, and it consists of tricyclic phenoxazone ring. Okay, so I have told that it consists of tricyclic phenoxazone ring in the quinone oxidation state, that two identical polypeptide lactose appendages are there. Polypeptide are made up of proline, L-threonine, L-valine, sarcosin, and the L-methylvalines. Okay, and it is used in the treatment of it is used as a part of combination chemotherapy, and is used in the treatment of carcinoma and the thromoblastic tumor. Okay, carcinoma and the thromoblastic tumor. Okay, so this is all about this drug. Next is our question: which amongst the following drug is having highest number of the ring system in the structure? So the correct answer is methotrexate. Methotrexate have lots of ring. The drug methotrexate shows its action through the inhibition of the DNA synthesis. Next is the type of the ring found in the azathioprine is pyrimidine ring system. Pyrimidine. Okay, pteridine ring system. The drug azathioprine is mainly used for as an immunosuppressant. Azathioprine is used for immunosuppressant. Okay, so this is all about this topic. I hope everybody understood it very well. So this is the reference. Okay, so I hope everybody understood it very well. So thank you.